Disneyland News Time, covering all but Disneyland headlines, all the top stories coming out of the Disneyland Resort, and we officially begin with a touch of Disney. It's the new ticketed event coming to California Adventure Park March 18th. If you haven't heard about this sucker, well, this is everything you need to be knowing about for the California region. If you are somebody that's in SoCal, if you're somebody that's in NorCal, if you're somebody that's coming for this special event, they now have pushed forward details for you. Not only is this Touch of Disney event the first time that Disneyland Resort theme park has been open in this capacity since shutting down last year due to coronavirus, it is also setting up a unique sort of food and entertainment offering for everybody to come back and join in on. I should say everybody under a capped capacity, that is. Obviously a special ticketed event so that they can cap the capacity at a smaller level. The introductory ticket price for this is for guests ages 3 and over. It's going to cost you $75. $75. A ticket is going to also include parking at the Mickey and Friends parking structure beginning at 11:30 a.m. A $25 Touch of Disney dining card redeemable for food and non-alcoholic beverages at select dining locations, and unlimited digital downloads of Disney PhotoPass photos captured during the day of the experience. So this is something we have been waiting to hear about, something that as Disney had sort of thrown it out there and said, we're going to do a special event, and we've made many nods to what Knott's Berry Farm has originally done. They were doing these events like crazy last year and sort of skirting the rules of, rather than reopening a theme park, which hasn't been allowed in California, they are opening up for basically a dining event, basically a restaurant type event where you can come in and pay a flat price and get yourself some grub. And Disney's mixing it up with you're paying a price and also having opportunities to buy more food if you want to, and more in terms of the experience. But this is certainly something where many of the restaurants within California Adventure are also going to be open. So in addition to the 6 food booths that we had been talking about previously when we heard that these were coming online for this event, $75. Katrina, you said somewhere in the $60 category, right?
Yeah, I was like
it's a little bit bigger.
Yeah. I mean, they did allow like a food, like we all knew, like if they were going to charge like a hefty price, they have to include food. Yeah. So we weren't sure if there was going to be a monetary price or if it was going to be ticketed like to like little samples. So at least it's $25, but it's like, in my mind, it's very expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to shoot with a family of 4 again. Can a 3-year-old drive a car and park in a parking spot? Probably not.
How much food they're going to eat?
So like how much food are they going to possibly eat? Yeah, it'll go towards the parents, but I don't think it includes like alcoholic beverages. So like if the parents want a hefty libation, they can't use their children's like $25 for it. But then on top of it, it's like, how much food can you possibly eat in a day?
Yeah.
Like, so there's reservations for Carthay Circle. There's reservations for Lamplight Lounge. Then there's all like, they're going to have different kinds of food that are coming from Disneyland going to DCA. So like the Monte Cristo sandwiches, Dole Whip and stuff. And then some of the fast food services over in like the pier area are going to be open. Then there's 6 food booths.
Yep.
What? How? I mean,
eat your day away.
Wow. Like I'm going to have to wear like super stretchy pants and like starve myself for like a day because, to get your $75 worth, you'd have to like literally show up in the morning and just lounge all day. And then you have to make reservations for Carthay and Lamplight too. Yeah. And everybody wants lobster nachos.
Don't get me wrong.
Oh, they're delicious. Like you kind of have to. You've been like, we've been deprived for a year. Everybody wants to go there. And then there's like these like food booths that are probably gonna be like macaroni and cheese and sliders. They haven't announced what the foods are gonna be, right? So it's just like, oh man, there's like so much. So anyway, $75 is really expensive for it. It's a good one-time thing if you want to go back into the park. Like I'm sure we're gonna do it. We want to get back in the park. We want to go to Lamplight. Just kind of like just walk around and go into Cars Land and just see it and enjoy it. But will we go like multiple times? Probably not.
And that may very well be, I think we had made the point in a prior broadcast, that may very well be what the point is. Is, one and done, the wham bam, thank you ma'am style of doing things. Tyler, it does come with parking, right? It does come with that $25 card and then all your downloads for PhotoPass. So at least there's a little bit of give here. The event itself running 12 noon to 8 p.m. I think Thursday through Mondays, beginning March 18th. So $75 is pretty steep still. I mean, even with, parking covered, which notoriously has been ridiculously expensive.
For some reason, I thought it was earlier. So if it's 12 to 8, how much food can you possibly eat in and they're going to shut down the food at 7,
sure,
7:30.
Well, I would hope they wouldn't, but yeah, I mean, it's to me, it's incredibly expensive, and a lot of the people that are gonna go to this, I think, with their families, the kids, like you even mentioned earlier, like the little tiny kids, they're not gonna really eat that much food, I feel like, and so it just kind of seems like they're trying to price people away. Like, I really feel like that, and I don't know. We'll have to see what this event is like, because I'm just kind of bummed out that, honestly, I feel like they just gave Carthay Circle back to me, and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad to see you, old friend. Give me big hugs, and then as soon as I go in for the hug, Disney's like, no, $75, please.
Behind a paywall.
Yeah, and so now I'm kind of bummed out about that. I'm also bummed out because they're going to be closed on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I think that's a huge bummer. We'll see. I'm excited, and I've been wanting them to do this, but the difference between this and Knott's is at least with Knott's, you feel it's going to be $45 or something, but then you feel like you are paying for the food. You're by the end of the day, you're like, dude, I couldn't eat another bite. And I just don't know if it's going to be like that for Disney. So I feel like, it's going to cost $150 for just Katrina and I to go. Man.
You're right. Think of that family of four, right, Katrina?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Because if you have it's 3 and up, right?
Yep.
So how much can a 3 or 3 to 5-year-olds eat? Maybe a churro, and then they get a little sugar high, and then they go on a little sugar low, and then they knock out for 3 hours or something, take a nap. And then what, So it's a bummer, man. It's really expensive. So yeah, and then you get unlimited photos, and that's great because obviously they don't want to touch your camera. So they're like, unlimited photos, please don't hand me your phone. I don't want to touch it.
And something they did mention is also included characters like Mickey and friends like Mater, Lightning McQueen, Joy, and Sadness will be spotted potentially waving at guests from a distance. We've seen this with Walt Disney World, and them bringing characters back in a certain capacity where characters are at a distance. Obviously, even character dining exists in Walt Disney World now, where you're basically always 6 feet away from a character, even in a dining location, and they're just kind of taking pictures behind you and off to the side. It's an odd thing to feel, for sure.
Can they put them on a barge out on
Paradise Bay?
Yeah, on Paradise Bay. That'd be amazing. They're just waving to everybody. Hello.
I mean, they've done it in Disney World's waterways. They could do it here, certainly. It would be nice to just see Mickey again. And I know that Knott's Berry Farm, with their different food events, they've also incorporated a lot of entertainment. And while they certainly don't have as iconic of characters, or I should say as many iconic characters, they have been able to incorporate a lot of entertainment within their events. And hopefully, Disney will shower and make it worth this $75 for the entertainment value alone, just because you're right. I mean, can you really eat from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m.? And the stores are open too, but when there are no rides and no attractions, no shows, it does make it a little difficult to stick around and get your money's worth.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting thing, and it's only going to be until about a month, and then they're going to restructure it and see how it goes. This is their testing phase. But I'm just man, if they only just opened up Lamplight and Carthay just to open reservations to everybody, they would make so much money, because they want to go eat there, not just because they paid for a ticket and then they're just going to sit there and have a drink or so, and then maybe food that you prepaid for $25 and then leave. So I don't know. We'll see.
We would love to hear from you. If you feel like $75 is too expensive, leave it in our comment section down below. We, again, are very much looking forward to your perspective on this. Everybody comes from a different background. Everybody comes from a different lifestyle in terms of what they can and can't afford. $75 for your food and for ages 3 and up, along with complimentary parking, your photos taken care of, and a $25 dining card. Is that worth it to you? We really do want to know, so leave it in the comment section down below, and we'll be sure to follow up just as soon as you leave those comments. Moving right along here, LA County has come on board in joining the chorus of Anaheim City Council members in celebrating, supporting, and saying yeehaw to the state bill that has been presented by state assembly members looking to allow Disneyland Resort theme parks to reopen earlier. This is something that we've talked about in recent weeks as the bill has gained steam. Really, the bill is looking to try and open up theme parks of Disneyland size in a tier earlier than was anticipated, rather than have it be the lowest tier, which is what the state of California had sort of structured it under. It had to be lowest tier, lowest amounts of people in terms of transmission and things of that nature within the state before the parks could reopen. This bill would ask for that to be sort of ignored and moved into the tier just above it. Still dramatically low numbers by expectation, still with the blueprint for a safer economy, and coming back with our color structure that we have here in California when it comes to how the COVID levels exist, whether it's purple and orange and yellow. We have all these unique colors. The state assembly members are gaining a lot of steam with attempting to override the governor on this. And, we've talked about recently that now it's official. The signatures needed to stage a recall election for the California governor is about to be underway as those numbers have been met. A lot of things can change very rapidly this year based on that and based on who eventually potentially fills that seat, and it very well could be somebody with a different mindset when it comes to reopening businesses and the way in which we are rolling things out here within the state. As we've seen out in Walt Disney World, they reopened theme parks last July, and something that we've mentioned many times is that they managed to do so safely, and no outbreaks have been linked to the theme parks. We've been able to see them even increase capacity just a smidge, and that has also allowed for them to still operate safely. So giving Disneyland the opportunity to do so, keeping things capped, is something we've all been waiting to see. But now LA County, Katrina, throwing their support behind this state bill, seems to really be gaining steam.
I'm happy for it. I mean, hey, at least like they're trying to get it a tier lower, so it's even like a possibility, because again, there's a lot of theme parks in California, and they're losing a lot of money, right? And the businesses even surrounding those theme parks are losing a lot of money. So, you look at Universal, and like Universal's City Walk is just kind of sad. Yeah. They don't really have a lot of restaurants open. There's not a lot of stores, and there's like, I don't know what they're going to try to do, if they're going to try to do a food event, but those places surrounding it are hurting. And then Disneyland, it's like Harbor is just a line of sadness. That whole street is just hotels, like small little shops that they thrive on. Tourists, they're done. So they need this open. I get it. I want it to be safely open, but at least they're pushing it now. They're not like waiting for Newsom to say something. They're like, no, we're done.
Yeah,
so I'm really happy.
He's lost a lot of goodwill in the last year, that's for sure. Even, we've mentioned this is almost like a bipartisan issue now, where these state lawmakers, the governor, notoriously Democrat, these state lawmakers also Democrat, coming together just saying, there's a possibility here they can open safely. Why aren't we doing it? Why aren't we just allowing it to happen? And so moving forward, obviously they too want to see theme parks of Disneyland size, so therefore Universal in LA County, as something that they want to see come back on board safely. Tyler, it looks like this is due for a vote, this bill, within I believe the next 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of March. So we could be hearing very soon that things are going to reopen a little bit quicker.
Gosh, it would be pretty exciting. I just feel like things have been so up in the air and back and forth for just a whole year now that I'm like, it's almost like hard to believe that it's even a possibility, you know, like I'm like, no, that can't be happening, you know, but it probably will. And we probably will see Disneyland open like around, you know, late spring or summer, I would think. I really do think that's a big possibility, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, very exciting news. I think that is the key word here, just because it's so, you're right, it's been so on again, off again. It's been so back and forth. And I think the best news coming out of the last few weeks is just the dramatic decline in numbers everywhere for coronavirus. And whether that be through you know, people that have it, whether that be through deaths, people in ICUs, the numbers are just dropping off so substantially everywhere. And obviously that's due to a vaccine rollout now, and that's really helping impact the bottom line. And, you know, as states continue to vaccinate and as more and more locations continue to pop up where that's an option, we are starting to see a big decline in all of those numbers. And, you know, it's just so bizarre. You know, it felt like a different world. And I know everybody feels this way to a certain degree. You know, we were sitting here last year at this time and just had no idea what was about to happen to us. No idea what was coming our way. And, you know, I think we were a week or so away, Tyler, from talking to one of the very first patients that ever was exposed to coronavirus that was, you know, sort of deemed as the first to be exposed by the government. And he was being held in containment in Nebraska or something.
I know, it was wild. Yeah. He's like, I felt bad for the guy too. He's just like, yeah, you know, I walk all day, you know. I'm like, you literally just pace back and forth all day. Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, fortunately.
What else are you gonna do? I mean,
he you know, and he ended up recovering very well. You know, he, after suffering the fever, as he told us, and going through some of the impacts of coronavirus, is, you know, it can impact you in so many different ways, as we've now come to find.
Talking to him, I'm sorry to interrupt, but talking to him made me feel like everything was gonna be okay. I was like, oh, hey, this guy had it and he's doing great. And wow, whole year later, here we are still. So it's
it definitely felt as though because he was able to pull away from it so quickly, and he was, you know, a senior too. I think that's really important to point out, is, you know, obviously the age group that has been attacked most by COVID. He was able to say, yeah, not only did I beat this, because I think it was like a day or so after we talked to him, he was cleared for the first time. He got to go home. It was a big deal. And so I think to all of us, talking to, you know, patient zero or whatever he was, it was like, oh, that's really reassuring.
He's like, I'll go on a cruise next month. Sure. We were like, oh, okay. If he go on a cruise next month, then it's all good. But
and then the whole world screeched to a stop.
We were wrong on that one. But.
Yeah. At any rate, it was great to hear from him. Great to be able to chat with him about what he was going through, what he was experiencing, as sort of that early on idea as to, you know, what possibilities there were in terms of symptoms, and then, you know, we would go on to learn so many others. So it has been a wild year, and just incredible to know that we're now rounding the other side of this, and vaccines have rolled out in record time, and we're seeing all kinds of movement in decreased numbers. So very good news all across the board, and very thrilled to hear that the state bill is moving forward quite quickly with all this support to potentially reopen Disneyland a little bit earlier. All right, Disney Vacation Club Villas, speaking of opening things up, at the Grand Californian Hotel and Spa, they are slated to be reopening very soon. Yeah, this is something that we've talked about before. Now, I don't know if you recall, but Disney Vacation Club Villas are reopening May 2nd at Disney's Grand Californian at the Disneyland Resort. According to Disney, the Vacation Club Villas at the Grand at Disneyland Resort will reopen May 2nd, 2021. This is the second time that Disney has set a reopening date for the villas. Back in December, as we all remember, Disney had to sort of back out of the planned reopening due to the sudden stay-at-home orders that were implemented in California. May. Interesting that they're picking May. Now, we tend to read in every time Disney picks certain dates for things, because usually they make a strategic business decision when they do that. I almost wonder if they're picking May, feeling as though that might be a time, because we also go back to this idea that the Touch of Disney food event is only about a month long, and then they can reset. And a lot can change in a month, as we've learned in this state.
Yeah.
Things can dramatically change in a week, So to know that May 9th, they have some of their hotels coming back online for the first time, that's big news.
I mean, and it's a Sunday too, so it's like that strategic day, right? So like a grand opening thing would always be like a Friday, and like so they kind of want that like weekend crowd. So, and it's like near like when school's over, and like they're like tapping their toes in the water, trying to test it,
tap.
It's a little tappy tap tap, and just see how it's going, and then they're like, ooh, okay, I think this is okay, but I'm like jealous. I'm a little jealous of these what are they? Yeah, DVC. I was like DCA. Yeah. No, that's a park. DVC members. I'm a little bit jealous, a little tad bit.
I mean, honestly, at this point, I would stay at one of the hotels, even with the parks being closed.
Yeah,
I really would do that because
would you do it if everything in the hotel was closed? Like room service, there's no bars open.
I don't need room service. I mean, well,
he's like, wait, hold on a minute.
No, did you say bar?
Did you?
I mean, no, yeah, I know. Wait, hold on a second. The bars are closed.
It's Benedict in the morning. This is like my whole trip is ruined.
Yeah. No, I don't need I would love Trader Sam's to be open and stuff, but I don't need that necessarily. As long as their downtown Disney stuff is in operation, that's all I would really care about. And
as most seasonal celebrations and stuff like that happen, typically the parks kick off their next big thing for the year at the tail end of May, right? So going into summer season is usually when the celebrations kick off. I can see, based on how everything is trending story-wise, how everything is trending, with your state bills moving forward, with the numbers dropping off, with villas reopening at this pace. It certainly seems like that's the direction we're headed. So maybe a late May, early June arrival of theme parks. We can only hope. We will cross our fingers. Let us know in the comment section down below what you are most excited about. Looking forward to those villas coming back. Are you pumped to see yourself a potential reopening earlier of Disneyland? Or are you ready to be touched by Disney? Oh my. Let us know in the comment section down below. We'd love to hear from you.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.